Gentleman yields. The gentleman from Mississippi, Mr. Guest, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to rebut a little bit the argument that's been made by my colleagues on the other side that Republicans aren't willing to secure resources for the border. And I'll just tell you that that is a complete, absolute misstatement of fact. In September, the House of Representatives passed an appropriations package for the Department of Homeland Security that appropriated an additional $2 billion. Those funds would go to hire additional agents. Those funds would go to merit pay. Those funds would go to invest in additional technology to stop the flow of fentanyl coming into this country. We also passed H.R. 2, which would have done the exact same thing. And so for my colleagues on the other aisle to say we should be more focused on funding DHS and what we're doing here today, I would argue that we have done that. We passed our appropriations bill, we sent it to the Senate, and Chuck Schumer has let that bill sit there, gathering dust, refusing to bring either H.R. 2 or the House Appropriations Bill to the Senate for a vote. And so for them to say that is a complete and utter misstatement of the facts. Professor Pearlstein, I do agree with you in your statement where you said that we do not have to have a violation of the federal criminal code for impeachment, and agree with you when you say serious offenses against public trust would arise to the level of impeachment. Prior to being elected to Congress, I served as a prosecutor in my local community, tried many jury trials. I remember often hearing the judges tell potential jurors that reasonable, good-minded people can reach different conclusions when applying facts to the law. The law in this case, I believe, is the Constitution, the impeachment clause, that we as reasonable members of Congress must apply the facts. And the facts, as I view them, and they may be different than viewed by other members of Congress, everyone views those using their own perspective, I believe that there is ample evidence. I believe that Secretary Mayorkas violated his oath to protect and defend the Constitution. I believe that Secretary Mayorkas has willfully failed to enforce the law, particularly the INA, where it says repeatedly that the Secretary shall detain and remove immigrants. I believe that Secretary Mayorkas has lied to Congress when he has repeatedly come in and said that the border is secure. I'll tell you an example. Just last year, in April of last year, as Secretary Mayorkas came and he sat there where you were sitting, Ms. Dunn, I had the opportunity to ask him, are all 9 sectors of the southwest border secure? And his answer was yes. Now, his answer contradicted the answer given just 3 weeks prior by his Chief of Border Patrol, Chief Ortiz, when Chief Ortiz said 5 of the 9 sectors on our southwest border are not secure. So I believe he's violated his oath to protect and defend the Constitution. I believe that he has willfully failed to enforce the law, and I believe that he has lied to Congress. Now, Professor, I see in your statement that you provided, you say that really only on 2 occasions, back in 1804 and 1872, where you had the removal of 2 U.S. district judges, where they were removed, one because one was chronically inebriated, and the other was mentally incapacitated. And you said that they were unable to carry out their duties because of that. I believe that a person who willfully chooses not to carry out their duties is more impeachable than someone who has some sort of mental inability to do so. And I believe that the record is clear if you look at what this committee has done to show that Secretary Mayorkas has refused to carry those duties out. Now, I want to ask you, because you clearly say in your report, Professor, that you've given, that Congress, that there appears to be no constitutional basis for pursuing this impeachment. My question is relating to a different impeachment matter. Did you feel that way last Congress for the 2 impeachments of President Trump? Did you feel that there was a constitutional basis for the impeachment of Donald Trump, either his first or second impeachment?
I did.
Okay, and so this matter differs and Secretary Mayorkas from both the first and second impeachment of the former president?
Yes,
And in what manner?
several. First, although I've heard now several times the allegation here that Secretary Mayorkas was in some respect violating his legal responsibility, those claims, the specific claims you've raised about detention, enforcement power, were raised and litigated all the way up to the Supreme Court by the state of Texas.
Ms. Berlin,
twice.
let me ask,
And the
can
Supreme Court
reasonable
ruled
people,
against that argument.
can reasonable people look at the facts and draw different conclusions?
Reasonable people can't draw different conclusions about the law as applied here.
You have to
The
apply the
Supreme
law to
Court
the
Witness
facts.
needs to
I
be
understand,
answer
and
the
I don't
question.
believe that there's
Witness needs to
consensus
give an
that
answer.
your version of what you believe the law is actually
Gentleman's time has
not.
expired.
I yield back. Thank you.